The Loop Gear SK05 PRO 2 is a flat wedge style flashlight that has a maximum output of 5,000 lumens, a maximum throwing distance of 410 meters, a max intensity of 41,000 candela, and a max runtime of 42 hours. It's a combo flashlight, meaning it can do both spot and floodlight and a combination of both. And it also has 4 brightness levels plus strobe and SOS. The SK05 PRO 2 now has an upgraded RGB side light. They upped the LEDs in that side light from 22 to 60, which can now produce 120 lumens with high CRI. And everything is controlled with a single metal side switch and a mechanical rotating dial. Inside there are two 3.6 volt 4000 milliamp hour 18650 rechargeable lithium ion batteries that can be charged via the USB-C port on the outside of the body, or if you have an external slot charger, they can be slot charged. And that USB-C port is a two-way port, meaning the SK05 PRO 2 is also a power bank. It's also capable of a 22 watt fast charge and a 22 watt discharge when you're using this as a power bank. It's also available in 2 different colors, a black and the version that I have right here, an MAO white. It has a dust and waterproof rating of IP68. The 6 means it's completely dustproof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water, and has a 1 meter impact resistance. All right, let's get some measurements here. The length is 4.19 inches, and in millimeters, that is 106.5 millimeters. The width, taken from the tail right here, is 0.87 inches, and in millimeters is 22 millimeters. And the height, I'm going to measure it right from the head there. It is 1.88 inches, and in millimeters, that is 47.8 millimeters. All right, let's weigh it. See what it comes out to be. 8.2 ounces, so right around a little over half a pound. And in grams, that's 232 grams. And yes, I am weighing it with the batteries in it. And I just wanted to show this. This is the SK05, the SK05 PRO, and the SK05 PRO 2. And let's just pretend I didn't tell you that, or you can't see the name of the flashlight on the front right there. I would say you'd have a hard time telling the difference between these 3 flashlights. Meaning if you just walked into this room right now and saw these 3 flashlights on the table from this angle, yeah, unless you picked them up and actually inspected them a little bit closer, like I said, I doubt you'd be able to tell the difference. Loop Gear has essentially kept the exact same body style through all 3 of these iterations right here, and I'm kind of wondering why. If you guys just saw my video on the Lumen X1 Pro, that flashlight looks completely different from the X1, almost a completely different flashlight. And don't get me wrong, I do like some of the upgraded versions of some flashlights to sort of look the same, but these are almost exactly the same, minus some minor changes I'm going to show you in a minute. And I heard rumors that they're coming out with an ultra version of this flashlight, so I'm not sure if they're going to keep the same body style or not. Let's hope they change it a little bit. But if I turn all 3 flashlights this way, you're going to see that, yeah, the one main difference you're going to see right away is the new Pro 2 version right here now has a rose gold metal side switch. And that's basically it. Well, my job is done here. Good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding, but am I? No, let me quit. Let me show you another upgraded version right here. So this now has a Hall effect mechanical rotating dial right there that has a slight different aesthetic than the version we saw right here on the first Pro, which is exactly the same thing we saw on the original SK05 right there. So that is one small aesthetic difference, is that rose gold side switch with the new Hall effect mechanical rotating dial, which does feel very good, by the way. Switching from spot mode to flood mode to RGB and lockout, this feels really, really smooth, very responsive. And another small change is now they have a plastic door right here to cover that USB-C charging port that is magnetic. The first 2 flashlights had a rubber flap right there covering that USB-C port. And honestly, I don't see any other changes at all. There's a new plate right there that says Loop Gear. I sort of like that as well. You can see the side right there. And on the back, on the front right here, you can see the slight color change on that side light. And now I'll give you a look at the bottom right there. As you can see, it's exactly the same thing. And let me turn on the floodlight on the Pro and Pro 2 so I can show you this. It still does have the glow around that floodlight right there. But the glow on the floodlight on the Pro 2 seems to be just a little more intense as you can see right there. But there are some slight upgrades with the lumen specs. For example, the floodlight on the Pro 2 is now 3,800 lumens versus 3,060 on the original Pro. That's an increase of 24%. And in spot mode, 2,500 lumens on the Pro 2 versus 1,300 lumens on the Pro. That's a 92% upgrade. So there is a few slight upgrades with the lumen output in the brand new SK05 Pro 2. But let me put these two off to the side and I'll give you a close-up of that MAO white body right there, that micro arc oxidation ceramic finish. First off, it makes this flashlight feel very, very smooth. You can see it's not glossy or anything like that. It does have a matte finish to it. It just feels very, very good. I love this finish on this flashlight. And the overall build quality here is great. It feels really, really well built, just like the original SK05 and the SK05 Pro. I always refer to flashlights being built like this as feeling like a little brick. And how could I not? I mean, it's just a flat rectangle that's shaped like a brick and very well built. It just feels very, very solid. And now let's talk about the floodlight here. First off, let me give you a look right down the barrel there at those LEDs. These three LEDs right here are the flood, and obviously that's the spot. I have the 6500 Kelvin version, which are the SST25s right there. It's also available in a 5700 Kelvin Nichia 519A version. But like I said, those are three SST25 LEDs, and I couldn't find any information what exactly that spotlight LED was. So I'm just going to take my best educated guess that it's a Luminous SFT25R, because that's what was in the SK05 Pro right here. Plus, I took a look at it. Yeah, it looks like an SFT25R. I just wish Loop Gear would list that on either the website or inside of their freaking owner's manual here, which they don't. Now, let me give you a closer look at that rose gold metal side switch. Everything feels very, very nice. I love the clicky responsive feel to this. And like I already mentioned, the Hall effect mechanical rotating dial here. It feels very, very smooth. This is a huge upgrade over the dial on the SK05 Pro right here, in my opinion. Also, it's a very small upgrade, but this little plastic door right here is magnetic, covering the USB-C port. I like this. I've been seeing a lot of companies put this style of door and latch covering their USB-C ports, and this one is magnetic. You can see the little magnet right there on the door. Stays shut. I like it. Also, the Pro 2 does retain the magnetic tail right there. So if I bring in my knife, you can see it is strong enough to hold this up completely horizontal. But in this orientation, once you turn it this way, it might have a little bit of issue. No, actually, it's still holding up pretty nice. So that is a good feature. Plus, it still has the locking latch right there to hold the door shut, so those batteries won't just pop out if you accidentally hit this latch right here. And it still has the same toggle switch right there. So let me open this for you. And I already talked about the batteries right here, the 3.6 volt, 4,000 milliamp hour 18650s, and it is a single spring system in there. Both springs are on the door, and inside near the head is just a terminal. Single spring systems, I wish it was a double spring system. I don't complain about that anymore. But if you ever forget which way to put these batteries back in, the negative always touches the spring. I feel like I should mention that. But this whole system right here feels pretty good. The latch feels strong. I do like the toggle switch right here to lock it out. Yeah, this all feels good. And I think this is pretty cool. It's just aesthetic, but this little Loop Gear plate that they put right here, they do give you, which I'll show you guys a little bit later on, they do give you a pocket clip right here. You can take this plate off and attach the pocket clip. Fairly easy, but I do like the looks of this plate right here without the pocket clip. But obviously, I'm going to put on that pocket clip and just call it a day, because the SK05 series always pockets very, very nice. Just because of this flat shape, it feels very nice in the pockets. On top of having that magnetic tail, it is flat. So, of course, you can tail stand it, huge plus. And I think that basically covers the basic features of this flashlight. So let's talk about the lumens and runtime here. So I think first I'm going to pop up the 6500 Kelvin specs, because that's the version that I have. And I'm not going to go too much into detail here just because there's so much information. So I'm just going to talk about the turbo specs. Turbo is 2500 lumens in spotlight mode, and then steps down to 850 lumens. It says 40 seconds at 2500 and then 3.2 hours at 850. And then floodlight, 40 seconds at 3800 lumens and then 2.5 hours at 950 lumens. Also, you can see the sweet spot medium where I like to keep my flashlights, 320 lumens at 11.2 hours and 400 lumens at 8.5 hours. I love that. And of course, you can do spot and flood at the same time. That's where the 5,000 lumens comes from. And then it shows that it steps down to 1,500 lumens. But there's also a side light, and this is a much brighter side light than the original Pro. This is one of the bigger upgrades for me, just because of how bright it gets. That 120 lumens in this side light is really bright. And I'll demonstrate that when I go outside and do the beam test. But you can see the only moonlight in this flashlight is on that side light again. One of my biggest negatives of the first two flashlights was there was no moonlight for flood and spot. But you are getting moonlight with that side light. It's right around 1 lumen. Then you can see low, medium, and high, 10 lumens, 40 lumens, and 120 lumens. And now I'll pop up all the information for the Nichia 519As. If you guys want to, you can pause the screen right now. All right, let's move on. Now let's quickly run over the UI. So set the mechanical dial right there to spotlight and just give it a quick short press, turns on the flashlight. Quick short press, turns off the flashlight. Turn it back on, press and hold, long press, cycles through the 3 cyclable brightness levels, low, medium, and high. As I mentioned, no moonlight. And then double press activates turbo right there. And the same deal for the flood mode. Exactly the same UI right there. Double press, there is flood. And the 2 special modes, strobe and SOS, strobe warning. So just triple click, 1, 2, 3, there's strobe, and then press and hold to get to your SOS right there. Press and hold again to go back and forth between those 2 special modes. And yes, this does have a brightness memory across all of the modes. So for example, if I turn it on, right there is flood and it's on low. And you can see if I click it over to spotlight, it's on high. If I turn it off, turn it right back on, it remembers low, high. Now let's go right back to flood, turn it on medium. And if I switch it back over, high, medium. So yeah, it does remember all the brightness levels, whichever mode it's on, even in the RGB mode. So I left it off right here on that white light. And to quickly show you this, because there's a lot here, I'm just going to run through them real quick. So for the side light, it basically has the same UI as the flood and spot mode. Short press off, short press turns it back on, press and hold to cycle the brightness levels. There's moon, low, medium, and high. And as I mentioned, the memory will remember what mode you're on, even on that side light, which I absolutely love that feature. And if you want to cycle through all the different RGB modes, double press, and this is your solid color, press and hold to change the colors right there. And if you want a different brightness level, you have to quadruple click 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes from low, medium, and high. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see right there is the highest, 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes right back to low. Double press again, it goes to a breathing pulse. Right there, you can see it pulses. Press and hold for the different colors. Right there, and the same deal, 1, 2, 3, 4, changes the brightness level. Right there's back to low. Double press again, and this is more of a trailing feature right there. Same deal. Press and hold for the different colors. And if I quadruple click, it'll get brighter. Double press again. And this is more of a trailing feature, just smaller LEDs, just shorter bits, I should say. Press and hold to change the color. And you guessed it, if I quadruple click, it makes it brighter. Double click again for the rainbow. Not my most favorite. You guys know I don't like these rainbow gimmicks in these flashlights. If I press and hold, you can see it gets faster or slower, that little trailing feature. Quadruple click changes completely in this rainbow feature. So you can see what it just did. It has more of a rainbow cycle, like a party mode. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. It goes to this right here. More of a breathing, but it cycles through all those different colors. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. There we go. So within that first rainbow gimmick, you have a bunch of other alternating rainbow colors that just have different animations. So let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. More of a Knight Rider thing. I wish it just stayed red instead of all the different colors. I mean, that's really cool. This would be cool right here if it just stayed red, pulsing back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes back to that same rainbow. And if I double click again, it goes right back to the original white light mode. And if I triple click in the side light mode, 1, 2, 3, it goes to the sort of cop flashing lights, emergency light setup. Press and hold here changes what that emergency light looks like. That's more of a red and white flash. Press and hold. and just a red flash right there. I do like this one. Press and hold again goes right back to the original red and blue. Now, if you turn the rotating dial all the way to the left, it has a lockout feature. So if I press the button, you can see it's green. That means it's not an auto lockout. So it does have an auto lockout feature, which locks out the flashlight automatically after 60 seconds of no use. And what you want to do to activate that is you want to press the button 7 times while it's in one of these modes here, spot or flood. So let's just put it on any random one. Press it 7 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should flash crazy. See how it goes from green to red? Red, if I push the button now, let's go back to lock. You can see it's now red instead of green. That means it's in auto lockout mode. So if I just put this down and don't mess with it at all, it'll automatically lock out even if it's in spot or flood mode, which is a nice feature. If you don't like the auto lockout mode, put it back into one of the brightness levels there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes from red to green. And now if it's locked right here and press it, you can see it's in non-auto lockout mode, which means it won't automatically lock itself out if you leave it in one of the spot or flood modes. And if you want to activate flood and spot at the same time from off, just press and hold. And you can see it activates both at the same time, but that is a momentary on. And this is everything the SK05 PRO 2 comes with. I'll give you a look at the box right there. Nothing too interesting here, except for the very back right here. You can see right there which version I have. And you can see the nichier version right here. But also right here, you can see it says there is a UV version. That's interesting. I haven't seen a UV version for sale yet, so I'm wondering if that's coming in the future. Also comes with a user manual right there. This is the pocket clip, which I am going to put on shortly to show you what that looks like. Inside of this bag is a screwdriver and 2 screws to put on that pocket clip, a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, and of course the flashlight itself. And I'm just going to demonstrate real quick with the charging cable that it comes with that yes, it does act as a power bank. Yep, right there. My phone is now charging. So the fact that it's a power bank, I absolutely love that. I think it's one of the features that should be standard on flashlights that come with either 2 18650s or 2 21700 batteries. And just to show you real quick, I took off that loop gear plate and attached this pocket clip to it. Pocket clip? Yeah, I mean, it's a pocket clip. It doesn't have a crazy amount of tension on there, but it's going to get the job done. And you can see you have just about, I would say, a little over an inch that will be sticking up above your pockets, and it looks like this is a tip up only. And honestly, I didn't even think about it. I wonder if I could reverse this and make this a tip down carry. And honestly, looking at it, I can't imagine why I couldn't just reverse this and make it a tip down carry. So yeah, you can probably do that too. And while I'm putting these screws away, I just realized I said tip down carry, like this is a knife. I'm just so used to saying that. I meant lens down carry. Let's continue. All right, let's do the beam test. It's a little windy out here, so hopefully it's not affecting the microphone too much. But let's start with, let me see. Where are we at here? That is right here. Let's start on spot. Let's make sure we have it on low. Yeah, low spot mode. So let's start by hitting that tree right there. And I always throw up the distance between me and the tree and me and the barn, which I'll get to. But I'm going to pan across slowly just so you guys can see. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely hitting the barn already, even on that low spotlight mode. And remember, I believe this is the SFT25R LED in this spot. Smooth reflector. I don't remember if I hit on that in the video or not. But let's go to medium. Sweet spot. Easily. Very nice beam profile here. And honestly, I'm going to go back inside and do a test here. But this looks like it has a larger hotspot than the original the SK05 PRO. So if I hold it still right there, you can see that intense hotspot right there. Very crispy outer perimeter. Typical spotlight beam pattern right here. Very smooth from that center of the hotspot all the way to the edge. Not much spill beyond that edge. There's a little bit down here. You guys can see that right there, but not much. And I've been noticing that a lot with these combo flashlights of this style. Same deal with the Lumen X1 Pro. Well, let's go to high. Very nice beam out of this. What is that right there? I'm not seeing any. Where are all of my animal friends that I always hang out back here? I haven't seen them in a while. And yes, I am hitting those trees back there in that cornfield. Very nice. And now, let me just pan across over here. Very cool. And then double press for turbo. Oh yeah. You guys get the idea. All right, and then let's go back to low right here, and I'm going to switch it over to flood mode. So obviously, different beam profile altogether. And I'm not really looking for a lot of throw here. I forgot to mention, I was 410 meters on that turbo in the combination, which I'm going to show you, the 410 meters of throw in combination. And I don't remember if it was just in that spotlight mode. It might have been. Let's go to medium, low to medium, because there is no moonlight here, remember. Huge negative in my book, man. You think after 3 versions they would finally put a moonlight in one of these. They still haven't, just in that side light. Very floody beam too. Pretty evenly spread. There's a little tiny bit of a hot spot, as you can see right there in the middle. But if I go to high, see, it's lighting up most of my field back here. Oh yeah. And then double press for turbo. Wow. Okay. Yeah, guys. Typical floodlight. You know, this will definitely get the job done. And then if I turn this off, and to reach the spot and floodlight mode, what you want to do is from off, press and hold, and it will activate both lights at the same time right there. So let me turn it off again, turn it back on, press and hold. There we go. This is the combination 5,000 lumens. I roughly got about 4,500 lumens if I remember right. Oh, wow. Now you guys can see those trees back there. Pretty nice. And it is heating up in my hands very, very quickly. You guys saw in the heat test, got to about 130 degrees. And of course, this starts stepping down instantly. You're not going to get much time on this 5,000 lumens. But yeah, very, very nice. If I hold it still, I'll give you a better look at that beam profile here. Very nice. So what I want to do is show you guys the side light. So here's the side light on. There's the 1 lumen moonlight. Let me just press and hold to activate low, medium, and now high. So this high, is pretty bright. I'm super impressed with the high that comes out of this light. It is just really bright. I see it's very floody. Really nice, soft white light that comes out of this side light here. And like I said, I'm really glad that they went back to a cooler white, more of a pure white, I should say, not even a cool white, a more pure white, like a neutral white, than the insanely yellowy light that was in the first Pro. And I'm going to do a really quick test. First off, I'm going to walk around my property here and just show you some more beam shots. And then I'll do a beam test between the Pro 2 and the Pro. And then we'll go back inside. Let's go. All right, I just got back inside from the beam test. Just want to show you guys side by side the Pro 2 and the Pro, the white light on the side light there. So you can see the actual neutral white light in the Pro 2 versus the almost yellowy. It's really hard to tell on camera, but this is extremely yellow. If I go up to low, medium right there, and then this one doesn't really have another brightness level after that. This one goes right to high, moonlight, low, medium, and high. This just has the 3 brightness levels. Now let's go over some positives and negatives of the SK05 Pro 2. Let's start with the negatives. One of the biggest negatives, at least for me, is there's still no moonlight with that flood in spot mode. Yes, technically you have a 1 lumen moonlight in that side light, but I mean, come on, let's put it in our normal working modes here. And another negative is it just has the same exact aesthetic as the previous 2 models here. I sort of want an upgraded look with my new upgraded models. All right, let's go over the pros. I do like that more neutral white light in that side light over here, and I like the 120 lumens with those 60 LEDs. I think the IP rating is great, an IP68, completely dust and waterproof. Of course, the replaceable batteries for me will always be a plus, and being a combo flashlight is a plus for me, being able to do flood and spot and a combination of both. I think the memory is a pro where it remembers all the brightness levels throughout all the different modes. Obviously, the ability to be a power bank, that's a plus. I think the new Hall effect dial right here feels great. I really like this new dial. And something I didn't really talk about throughout this video, but I do like the fact that when you have it locked out right here, if you press and hold, you can go to instant green or instant red if you have that auto lockout on. Let me just do that. 1, 2, 3, whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once you turn it on auto lockout, you have an instant red when you're in lock. So you don't have to turn it in the red light mode, the RGB modes. If you want that instant red to preserve your night vision, put it in auto lockout. Now you have a quick momentary red. I think that is a great thing. But most of these Pros, the previous Pro model had as well. So is it worth the upgrade from the Pro to the Pro 2? And realistically, other than the new cover right there for the USB-C port and this Hall effect dial, a lot of this is exactly the same. Other than some lumen candela and a slight upgrade in your throwing distance, I'm not really sure if it's worth the upgrade if you already have the SK05 Pro. Because let's be honest, yes, you are getting a 24% increase in flood and a 92% increase in lumen output for your spot mode, but those are turbo specs and you're not really getting a lot of time at that level anyways. So yes, technically there is an increase in lumens, but like I said, you're not really getting that much time on that level anyways. What would be more impressive is make those turbo times a little bit more sustainable. Then you really have something. It seems like all these companies have a race to get to the highest lumens instead of looking at what's really important is, yeah, 5,000 lumens, but yeah, that'll last like 5, 10, 20 minutes. Instead of literally 5 seconds at 5,000 lumens and it starts to take a dive, as you guys saw in my Lumen test. So my final verdict is if you guys don't have the Pro, then absolutely pick up the Pro 2. But if you have the Pro, I'm not really sure if it's worth the upgrade, to be honest. But that's up to you. If you guys have $100 and something burning a hole in your pocket and you're a Luke Gear fanboy and you have to have every single thing that they release, then hey, knock yourself out. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. What do you think of the Luke Gear SK05 Pro 2? If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll have all that information down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe. Should I say and go? I did this before. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it. A lot of you guys said, no, keep it. I love it. I don't know, man. I started it because I'm like, okay, why are you guys still here? I'm looking around. I'm still sitting here in my chair. So go, get out of here. Is that too aggressive? I don't know. And go!